What is good, Osiris here, stuck in the middle? Thank you for joining me. I've got to upload every day at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. The Constitution, the Constitution of the United States, is the document that holds us all together, holds all the states together. Otherwise, we might as well be all individual little countries. The document forces us as citizens to agree in theory, in general practice, on these amendments and the whole document of the Constitution. Once we start twisting it and saying it's okay if President Trump declares a national emergency because we've got to be safe, right? So it's okay if we violate the 14th Amendment, the fourth, the fifth, the first. It's okay. And you see that the UK right now is having spikes in hospitalizations. We might have to take the Constitution back again and put it on pause for a little bit. Have we not learned anything from what happened over the last 15 months? It's not even politicians advocating for this stuff to break it apart. It's citizens now. This brainwashing is so powerful. You've got paid social media, celebrities out here posting garbage and people believing it and eating up the mainstream news. How do they condition us? It's in many ways. Most recently, Facebook is conditioning us by turning us into their investigative body. Facebook now telling users that someone they know is becoming an extremist. Alex, you may have been exposed to harmful extremist content recently. Violent groups try to manipulate your anger and disappointment. You can take action now and protect yourself and others. Get support from experts, spot the signs, understand the dangers of extremism, and hear from people who escaped violent groups. That's something that you might see as a trial pop up on Facebook right now. Oh, here's the other one. Are you concerned that someone you know is becoming an extremist? We care about preventing extremism on Facebook. Others in your situation have received confidential support. How you can help. Hear stories and get advice from people who escaped violent extremist groups. Get support. Close. Those are messages that you could see pop up on Facebook now. Facebook hit $1 trillion valuation just a few days ago. A trillion. When I say a trillion, yes, I mean 1,000 billions. It's a number that's so big, I don't even have a comprehension on what that means. Now, I'm not going to hate them just because of their money. I'm invested in Tesla. I'm a proponent of Tesla, and they will get to $1 trillion valuation one day. But Facebook has got there by becoming the new public town square and then working with the government to squash dissent, to squash conversation, and to destroy our First Amendment. And that's when everything falls apart. So I'm not okay with how Facebook's done it. Do you think they need a human police watch on their app? They've got money to have the best artificial intelligence possible. They've got outsourcers, they've got resources. They don't need people's help, but it's a part of that mentality. It's just like what we saw in China. I did a video where they had these social media apps in China when they say, if you think someone has a wrong opinion, opinion against our authoritative government, um, give us a ring. Let us know. This keeps terms like extremist at the forefront of mind. Is there a definition of what extremist is? I looked on the community guidelines and just under this isn't what they said extremist was, but under dangerous individuals and organizations, I quote, individuals and groups banned for promoting hatred. So that would be Donald Trump, right? He's banned right now. So Facebook has their own Supreme Court that ruled. No, no, not the Supreme Court of the judicial branch in our country that's supposed to hold the Constitution together. We've kind of digressed and diverted. I wonder what the founding fathers would think of Facebook, a private company that works hand in hand with the government, having their own Supreme Court ruling on the fate of the free speech of a former president. And our country is divided because they don't agree with that president's politics. So they say, hey, we don't agree with his politics. So let's suspend the First Amendment. It only applies to everyone else. The Facebook Supreme Court ruled at the end of this period of this 2-year ban, we will look at experts to assess whether the risk to public safety has receded. We will evaluate external factors, including instances of violence, restrictions on peaceful assembly, and other markers of civil unrest. If we determine that there is still a serious risk to public safety, we will extend the restriction for a set period of time and continue to reevaluate until that risk has receded. And I wonder, when you say extreme, and I used to be a math major. Well, I was a math major. I don't do much math now, but when you say extreme, you have the mean or you have the normal, and extreme goes either way, left or right, up or down, can be extremes. What about Democrats? Did they promote did any Democrats promote hate that caused civil unrest?
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
Is the writer of this article considered extreme, Facebook? Is Washington Post that published this article, are they considered an extremist organization? They said that your child should watch kink. They didn't defend kink at the Pride Parade. They advocated for children to watch kink at the Pride Parade. Is that considered extremist? I quote from the article, children who witness kink culture are reassured that alternative experiences of sexuality and expression are valid. Is that an extremist position? It's supposed to point out extremists and people who are violent. This is what a current congresswoman labeled as violence. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, January 1st, tweeted this in response to pressure for her to make a move to push and get Medicare for all a vote on the floor. And this was her tweet. And to be 100% honest, it was hard during this to be targeted, marred as some sellout enemy of the people over a late tactical disagreement over one floor vote. You're a public representative and people were putting pressure. Obviously, that one floor vote meant a lot to people. I digress. Also, a bummer to see figures name names. I don't like that. We know who was doing it. Name names. Also, a bummer to see figures excuse comments like F her and F anyone who protects her. That's not tone, that's violence. There's the word violence. So you say, oh, but it's only not extremists, it's violent extremists. And we have a member of our government saying F her and F anyone who protects her is violence. The context in which people said F her was her politics, not physical violence. They said F anyone who protects her was who protects her politically, not physically. So you see how the term violence is being used. In another video I did recently on a pride group that charged reparations to white people to get into their pride events, it's asinine, of course, but they called anyone who criticized it committing casual violence. So you understand how the English language doesn't mean anything anymore. Michael Knowles has this great book I'm reading right now. I'm not finished yet, about halfway through, and he's so on point right now. The language is everything. Violence is not what it means. Racism is not what you think it means. Race is not what you think it means. Extremist is not what you think it means. And the concerns I'm bringing up here are just part of the First Amendment, the most basic part. I'm not even talking about the separation of church and state, the establishment cause of the first. We're not even beyond the First Amendment yet. And we know it's falling apart. Critical race theory, in my opinion, is a non theistic religion. It's a religion without a God. That is not, it is a religion, and it's now in the military. We had the nation's highest ranking military officer say that he wanted to understand white rage.
I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university, and it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault?
Respectfully, General Milley, you sound like somebody who was held captive for 10 years in a barn somewhere being brainwashed. Respectfully, sir, that has no part in our government, much less in schools. All of the privilege and peace that I've enjoyed my whole life, it's really turned me soft. I'm going back, reading through history now, and humans and nature is extremely violent, extremely dangerous. It's ugly. I was watching a video the other day where there was this cougar. I don't know what it was, if it was a cougar or a mountain lion or something, and it was hunting and it was fishing. It jumped off a cliff, grabbed an alligator, and ran onto the shore like it was nothing. And I was watching it with my son, and he was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Yeah, nature is crazy." We're in some rough parts right now. Humanity is ugly, and we're seeing that ugliness sprout up, and it hasn't been to this level in a long, long time. We talk about the 4th of July coming up, and it makes me think about when we look at the beginnings of this country, when you had the settlers coming over from Great Britain. Why did they come over from Great Britain? It was because of, there were some monetary reasons there too. There were some monetary reasons, but that's not enough to make you go across the Atlantic. Those monetary reasons, that's not why mothers were concerned and came over. It was for religion. It was standing up for what you believe in. And you think critical race theory, and not even that, all this other, we call it wokeism. When the history books go back and read it, it depends on who writes it, but you're going to be seeing people describe this wokeism as the religion that is the breaking point. King James the First, released his own version of the Bible. That's how strong religion is. He had to control it to keep power. From the Church of England and the Puritans, they didn't want that. They didn't believe in it that way. They thought they had a more pure version. And King James, of course, as a monarch, wasn't going to say, "Oh, I know you guys are all peaceful, so you do your more pure version of the religion that I'm into, the Church of England, and we'll do ours, and we won't teach your kids that." No, he was like, you can't do that here. You're trying to threaten my power. Everybody learns critical race theory. Everybody learns from the Church of England. And they were like, "We're out of here." Went to Holland, went across the Atlantic Ocean, dying, sacrificing. It sounds naive. It sounds stupid. It sounds ignorant, but it is. And I'm talking about myself. I did not realize, I did not fully understand that our Constitution doesn't really mean anything. It only means what we, the people, are willing to protect in a bipartisan manner. That's why the Supreme Court didn't hear the Texas case late last year. because they thought it would bring our country into chaos. Where if we can't have some bipartisan fundamental agreements, regardless of any type of identity, then this whole Constitution falls up. The whole thing falls apart. I mean, that document, the Constitution, it means absolutely nothing right now because of how we, the people, aren't agreeing on fundamental issues. And you can see the separation of powers, executive, legislative, and judicial are all broken. Supreme Court didn't hear the Texas case. And then now Facebook has their own Supreme Court. So what are we doing here? The Constitution might as well be a roll of toilet paper. Single ply. Let me know what you think. Take care.
Yo, this is how I represent. I rock the mic 110%. It's intimate. I keep the party moving like an immigrant. Binary star, superstar, it's no coincidence. Every verse is intricate. This ain't a circus in a tent. We don't get down like them clowns in the Kents. I'm used to being indigent. Who said it's all about the Benjamins? I want a fortune. I want to make music and hit the lottery. Fortunately, my music is never watery. That's how it gotta be as far as I can see. Maybe you should grab a telescope and see my view is like astronomy. It ain't all about economy, so the fact that all these whack MCs is making G's don't bother me. Honestly, my number one policy is quality. Never sell my soul is my philosophy. High velocity, lyrics like Nostradamus making prophecy. I told you cats a long time ago, it ain't no stopping me. I bomb your set, that's not a threat, it's a promise. Got everybody riding on my wagon like the Amish. But still I never claim to be a big rap star, cause no matter who you are, it's still Allah who Akbar. Better believe this, most rappers can't achieve this. I'm bad to the bone, but x-rays can't even see this. See, I'm strategic, I let your money talk bullshit. Walk while I keep it rolling like paraplegics. Whoever's on the microphone, let it be known, you in danger. I got next like the Boston Strangler. You ain't never heard an MC speak like this. And Rodney King ain't never felt the beat like this.
That is the main theme. I'm gonna do something else.
Get a grip on yourself, cause you ain't gripping minds. Life and times idolize, rap guys out of line, careers I finalize. Collide with this serenade cyanide you've applied for psilocybin. The thing that makes killers hide, hang them high by their gold link necktie and drain them dry into temper style. Now you ain't Kai, so you ain't that high. Wanna be aeronautic, then get swatted for acting fly. Masterminds, crafty rhymes, ill went from drafty lines. They chill spines like the Alpines, running up on Sanam turbines, a close encounter of the worst kind. Go ask some cats and heard I'm lyrical turpentine. Who wanna taste mine? I carry hell on the waistline. God's gift the baseline, so let the phlegm fly. I surmise 7-5 through the MI. When I forcefully Jedi in the bull's eye, red eye, heads fly, bet I, sharp shoot dead eye, snooze cruise bet by. Mary Lou flipping eye, paper punk ripping eye, stomping eye, simplify, represent temper I signify, walking rhyme, make nothing similar. Or Gemini, we're in this perimeter, Septemini, cats be cut dry. I'm a wild wet guy. I be raining precipitation till it's 1 inch from neck high. Rest fly kids mid sky without an alibi. Who said you rap tight? You come and rap by a slice of this rap scalpel guys quick as apple pie. I'm learned in all schools of thought and shit you baffle by. Conceptual, intellectual, fox slide. Silla oxide, rhymes flow like a rock slide. You must have forgot I slap your ass, knock, needed, cockeyed, bruised, battered, broken up, open cut, dipped in peroxide. Death to the pot fly.
Usually I don't do request numbers, unless, of course, I have been asked to do so.